What's this? Our devilishly handsome hero, Critical Rants, finds himself ensnared in an unusual framing device. The only way out, it seems, is to narrate a brilliant video essay over the next 15 minutes. It's a heck of a tall order, but that's the price you pay after one wild night in YouTuber City.
When Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns debuted in 1986, the character of Batman was forever altered, ushering in a new era of darker, more adult stories about Gotham's greatest crime fighter. While countless attempts to reinvent the world's greatest detective have been made since then, no story has quite captured the darker side of the Caped Crusader as effectively as 2019's Eisner Award-winning comic, Superman's Pal Jimmy Olsen, Who Killed Jimmy Olsen. Despite the fact that Batman is only a minor player in the overarching narrative of this maxi series, the impact that writer Matt Fraction and artist Steve Lieber would leave on the character of Bruce Wayne would be eternal. But how could two storytellers deconstruct and reconstruct the Dark Knight of Gotham so profoundly and succinctly? The answer, of course, is through Batman's prank war with Jimmy Olsen, which would come to redefine the characters of both Bruce and Jimmy for decades to come. Superman's Pal Jimmy Olsen is a text so thematically rich that it's almost impossible to do justice in its entirety here. But Jimmy's and Batman's prank war specifically is a story about two broken men consumed by insecurity, about the ineffable, corrupting power of Gotham City, and the ultimate redemption that both men find in each other. This is more than just another comic book. This is more than just another story. This is...
Why Jimmy Olsen? Why him? The better question is, why not? He's a man of many talents, a jack of all trades, a master of all. But when times are desperate and murdery, not even our brave hero Jimmy can avoid the downsides of being murdered.
As the title of the book would imply, Superman's Pal Jimmy Olsen, Who Killed Jimmy Olsen, focuses on the murder of the Daily Planet's Star Shutterbug. Of course, something as simple as death isn't enough to stop Jimmy Olsen, but it is enough to stop the decoy corpse of Jimmy Olsen, which is a thing that exists in this strange book, and it's gonna be a lot easier if you just don't ask questions, okay? After realizing that some nefarious ne'er-do-well clearly wants him dead, Jimmy decides to flee his beloved home of Metropolis to take up a reluctant residence in the cold, clammy embrace of Gotham City. Colorist Nathan Fairbairn paints Gotham in shadows and sickly green hues that sharply contrast the cheerful, sky blue palette of Metropolis, immediately establishing this new setting as hostile and foreign. Even the most hardcore comics fans will be surprised to learn that Batman 2 resides in Gotham City, and it wouldn't be long before the Dark Knight and Jimmy Olsen would collide in a war of pernicious pranks that would change comic books and storytelling as we know it forever.
You think your day job's got you down? Well, it's not all fun and games for Critical Rants, dear viewer, as he prepares to play Shrink for Superman's BFF Batman and Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, in a segment that we had to call The Video Essayist Will See You, and You.
Being far less interesting and popular than Jimmy Olsen, we'll do the Caped Crusader a solid by psychoanalyzing him first. Naturally, Batman's descent into darkness is brought on by him taking a dump in a company bathroom and discovering that Alfred has spent years paying Wayne Enterprises employees to laugh at Bruce's jokes in order to make Bruce feel better, to the point that Alfred has paid out over $85,000 for this express purpose. This version of Batman is extremely isolated and is so insecure about his perceived lack of humorous capacity that he feels the need to prove himself as hilarious at any cost. Fortunately, it wouldn't be long before a certain bow-tied buffoon would stumble into town under an extremely covert guise.
I need you to go along with this. Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, is dead. Long live irresponsible blogger Timmy Olsen, who might have a mustache. I haven't decided yet.
With the bright, optimistic, Metropolis-dwelling Jimmy Olsen now metaphorically buried in the ground, we see the rise of Jimmy's darkest alter ego in the book. Clearly, Timmy Olsen has a difficult time adjusting to Gotham City's less than hospitable atmosphere, to the point that it begins to degrade Timmy's mental and emotional well-being. In essence, Timmy Olsen is a manifestation of all of Jimmy Olsen's repressed desires, and those desires manifest in vindictive and downright cruel pranks, such as filling storefronts with as many Joker lookalikes as possible before Batman notices, nearly murdering Dr. Fate with a colony of bees, starting a petition to...
Hey, what's up, you dumb, stupid Gotham dumbos? It's your boy, Timmy Olsen. Check it. We got 50,000 signatures on our petition to rename Gotham East Bloodhaven, and today we're delivering to the dinks at City Hall. And we're delivering a literal revolving door to Arkham Asylum because, I don't know, I guess I thought it'd be funny?
Batman is swift to retaliate against the antagonistic Olsen, both physically and with pranks of his own. And even when Timmy recognizes the harm that he'll bring upon himself by continuing to prank Batman, he can't help himself. He's given in to that darkness, and disturbingly, he's begun to revel in it. Even Lois Lane, one of Timmy's staunchest allies, voices her concerns about her friend's new persona when she realizes how far he has fallen. The parallels between the Dark Knight and Jimply Olsen are obvious. Both men experience an identity crisis and struggle to come to terms with the multiple personas they portray themselves as, and both struggle to prove themselves as independent. In Batman's case, it's proving himself as independently hilarious, completely removed from Alfred's aid. And in the Phantom Swinger's case, it's proving himself as independently capable, completely removed from Superman's aid. And on the topic of duplicity,
Two cities, two icons, tubular tie-ins. Today is Tuesday. If you'll let me get away with these terrible puns, you'll probably think that this next section is pretty great too, which we had to call A Tale of Two KERSMACKOS.
the characterization of Master Jimbotron and Bruce Wayne and the parallels between the two are even exemplified through the book's lettering. Jim's first chronological encounter with Batman is telling. The Dark Knight is so distrustful of Jimmy Olsen that he knocks the young lad's camera out of his hand with a resounding
KERSMACKO!
James Bartholomew's disdain for the Caped Crusader is so great given this brief incident that he calls Batman a mean name, which is immediately noteworthy since it's very out of character for the usually wholesome and easygoing Mr. Jix. Without pause, Batman draws out Lil Jimby's worst version of himself, not intentionally or maliciously, but because he has allowed Gotham City to drag him down into its toxic, grimy depths. And so toxic and grimy and fond of dragging are Gotham's depths, that Jimmikal Olsen himself is influenced after taking up residence in the Dark Knight's hometown, to the point that he strikes Lois Lane's lighter out of her hand with the exact same onomatopoeia that Batman struck Jimberly's camera from his hands.
KERSMACKO!
Quickly and quietly, the book's letterer, Clayton Cowles, visually demonstrates Timmy Olsen's and Batman's similarities, as well as the shared surrender to their primal aggression that comes so easily in Gotham City.
Much like Jimmy Olsen's funeral service, Gotham City can get you down. Perhaps a warm meal in East Bloodhaven's finest eatery could brighten the mood, but it's not all as it seems when two of Gotham's prankiest citizens are struck with the Culinary Blues.
During his stay in Gotham, Timmy Olsen appears to follow a meal plan that consists entirely of chiles rellenos, and when we witness Bruce Wayne out at a restaurant, he orders a rare prime rib with no sides, and another prime rib just like that but blended into a hot smoothie. Both men lack any variety in their diets, preferring instead to eat only one meal, to act only one way, to prank only one rival. This single-minded approach to their food consumption speaks volumes to their overall psyches. Jimmy is so concerned with his ability to prank ruthlessly, and Batman is so concerned with his ability to fight crime effectively, that their mental health and the rest of their lives are neglected as a result, leading to a long and bloody prank war between these two titans of tomfoolery.
Onomatopoeia? Diets? What diabolical dissection does our intrepid video essayist have in store for us next? Keep watching, loyal viewer, and you'll surely find out in this section that we had to call Even More Analysis.
It isn't just writer Matt Fraction, artist Steve Lieber, and colorist Nathan Fairbairn who labored so relentlessly to make this book a masterpiece among masterpieces. It's also, as noted previously, the book's letterer, Clayton Cowles, who manages to convey Batman's character development through his lettering alone. As the Wayne Olsen prank war rages on, Batman's dialogue is rendered in a drawling, creepy font unique from the rest of the fonts used in the book, immediately distinguishing Batman as a harrowed and monstrous character, clearly affected by the toxic environment of Gotham City. In Batman's and Master Jimbotron's first meeting, Batman is openly hostile towards the young lad. He asks Jimuary if he's his enemy because he's been conditioned by Gotham to think that everyone is his enemy, an outlook that is clearly not conducive to building interpersonal relationships. Little Jimmy, too, has allowed Gotham to corrupt his spirit as he steals a tire from the Batmobile and then the Batmobile itself, despite the fact that he knows the Dark Knight's retaliation will be swift and ruthless. As Lois Lane observes, Timmy's self-destructive pattern of behavior is almost compulsive, and it isn't long before an abundance of Gotham's denizens have it out for the red-headed rabble-rouser, likely at the behest of some malevolent force. When the youngest Olsen blows off a meeting with Batman to reunite with his award-winning playwright sister, Janie, the siblings are ambushed outside of Timmy's apartment and are only saved by, of all people, Batman. The Caped Crusader reveals that his considerable detective skills aren't enough to solve the mystery of who wants Jim Cherry, James Jimmy Olsen dead. He even admits that despite their squabbles, Batman has enjoyed the prank war due to its more lighthearted nature than his typical battles in Gotham. With this new outlook on Timmy's pranks and on his own life, Batman insists that Jimply Olsen is no longer safe in Gotham City.
There's a fussy Englishman in a black town car downstairs wearing an I'm with stupid t-shirt over a tailcoat. He'll drive you anywhere you want to go, as long as it's out of Gotham. Oh, I had your name legally changed to Jimphony, like symphony, but it starts with Jim. Batman always wins Jimphony. Remember that. Goodbye.
Batman legally changing Jimmy's name to Jimphony, and other delightful combinations of words such as Jorquith, Wingdings, Helvetica, Jathans, Jamis, Jimmy, Jimuary, Olsen would become a running gag in the book. But perhaps most importantly, Batman's lettering in the aforementioned scene is portrayed in a normal font, visually demonstrating the spiritual growth he's gone through and showing how thoroughly he has shed his brutal, toxic demeanor. Of course, this is a technique that famously apolitical writer Alan Moore would later rip off of with the character Rorschach in the obscure 1986 graphic novel, Watchmen. Back on the topic of a character that people are actually aware of though, like Janie Olsen, Batman even compliments Janie on the quality of her plays, and seeing him come to Jimphony's rescue after being his opponent for so long feels incredibly rewarding and incredibly earned. In a book stuffed with wholesome, moving, and powerful moments, the conclusion of Batman's and Jimphony's prank war stands among the very best in the story.
Believe it or not, folks, all good video essays must come to an end. But how to end such an aptly authored analysis? Well, I'll leave it to the handsome man himself as we kindly remind you, don't forget to like and fave!
Look, I could rant on and on about the merits of Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, Who Killed Jimmy Olsen. It nails every fundamental story beat there is, as outlined in Robert McKee's story. There's a space turtle part. There's a gorilla champagne part. There's a Jimply cheekbones part. Without sacrificing any of its good-natured fun, this book demonstrates how even a person as pure as Jimply Olsen or as strong as Batman can be broken and reshaped into something destructive. Yet Superman's pal also offers a way out. By learning to put aside their differences and appreciate the subtle genius of their prankish peer, Bruce and James Bartholomew become better and more altruistic people. Ultimately, they're able to escape the damp, grimy clutches of Gotham City, metaphorically in Batman's case, and are able to once again fill the world with hope and unity. And if filling the world with hope and unity isn't quintessential Jimphony Olsen, then I don't know what is. What's up, suckers? you liked and subscribed to irresponsible blogger Jimical Rants. I'd say thanks, but I don't give a heck. That's all I got left to say, I think, for this video. Have a jolly Jimuary, everyone.